So today the goal is I can graph and completely describe a quadratic from standard form. That's the biggest difference. We've been working with vertex or graphing form. Today it's standard form. The warm-up A and B is a review of what we did last week. You can either use foil or box. So right now I want you to do the warm-up. When you're done with the warm-up, check in with someone near you. You're doing A and B, you can use foil or box. Does not matter to me. Ready, set, go. When you're ready, you can check that. Again, you can use box or foil. Does not matter to me. But you should be expanding and multiplying that out. All right, example 1. Today, we're going to focus on standard form. This is standard form. I would circle that, highlight that, put a star next to it. That is standard form where A, B, and C are numbers. In example 1 right here, you guys tell me what's A? How many x squares do I have? 1. So A is 1. It's 1x squared, but we don't have to write it, right? And then B is, and C is, oh great, oh look, you have another formula, vertex formula. This is the formula to find the x value of our vertex. Before we complete the table, I need to find my vertex. So I take the opposite of B over 2 times A. So opposite of my B all over 2 times my A. 2 times 1, 2. 2 divided by 2. It's going to be -1. Why? Because the formula says there's an opposite or a negative out front. That's the x value. How am I going to find the y value for the vertex? And yes, you're right. We're going to plug in -1 for x and find the y value of our vertex. -1 squared, +1. 2 times a -1 is -2, -3. You end up getting -4. So now I know my vertex is -1, -4. And that is step 2. Find the vertex after you identify A, B, and C. Are we cool with that? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the table. I'm going to put the vertex in the middle here. I'm going to look at 2 around it because it's symmetrical. What other x values should I pick?
0.
0 and 1 and -2 and -3. You're going to show your work by plugging into the original equation. I'll set up the work. You will need to use your calculators. You cannot just plug all of this into the calculator. You have to do PEMDAS or order of operations. Yay! Great. You figure out the table values. Ready, set, go. If you need help figuring out the values, let me know. Make sure you're squaring first, then you're multiplying, and then finally you subtract 3. When you're ready, you can check your work for the table and graph it. Are we good with the table? Give me a thumbs up if you're good with the table. You got the same values as me. Great. Did you graph it? Great. Not yet. Now we're going to start describing it. A, H, and K. A is 1. H is -1. K is -4. It should match your vertex. Remember, H comma K is your vertex. Don't forget that. Does it open up or down? Up. Fantastic. Is it average, wide, or skinny? Average. A is 1. Vertex. We already identified that. Is the vertex a minimum or a maximum on the graph? Minimum. It's the lowest points on the graph. How about our line of symmetry? X equals -1. What about our range restriction? All your y values are greater than or equal to -4. And finally, the y-intercept that should be in your table, 0, -3. We already found that in our table. Cool? We just completely described it and graphed it from standard form. Wow. Flip the page. We got another example. Do you want to do it together or on your own? On our own? I'm going to help you get started. Let's first identify A, B, and C. A is 3. B is -12. C is +10. From there, we find the vertex. Oh no, you have negatives and negatives. What happens with negatives and negatives? Positive. Oh good, they become positive. So I got 12 divided by 6. 2 is the x value in my vertex. How do we find the y value of our vertex? Plug in 2 for x. Don't forget to square 2 in the first term. Great, you've got the vertex. Put it in the table. You're going to look at values around it. Let's see if you can set it up. When you're ready, you can check your table. You can graph the points. Again, when you're doing your work, order of operations really matters. PEMDAS. Describe this completely now. The vertex was 2, -2. Don't forget that the vertex is H comma K. If you didn't know that, I might write that down in my notes. So A is still 3 from our standard form. We've got 2 and -2. Does this graph open up or down? Is it average, wide, or skinny? Skinny, you could also say narrow. The vertex we know is 2, -2. Is it a minimum or a maximum on the graph? A minimum. What's your line of symmetry here? X equals 2. Y is what? Greater than, equal to, less than, or equal to? We have to have an inequality here. Greater than or equal to -2. The y-intercept, that was from our table, right? What is it? 0, 10. We did it. 2 examples of completely describing a graph from standard form. Any questions? Okay, your homework today is on the next page. You're going to do numbers 1 through 10 evens. Evens.